Hello my fellow senseis, Dynamis here, and today I'll be going ahead and teach you how to deal with Malkuth, the current raid boss for this event. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because certain people might be too intimidated when you first look at Malkuth's HP. And it being the only boss that you can take on, some people might think like, oh, I can only do like C difficulty or something like that. And in reality, you could generally deal with difficulty D even if you're a newer sensei by just borrowing. I'll explain to that in a bit. But for now, I will explain to you all how does Malkuth even work in the first place and how to properly beat her. So first up, Malkuth is a neutral armored boss. She does not have any weaknesses. What I mean by that is that she's like normal color on the armor type. So what that means is any character that specializes on color effectiveness to deal in a lot of damage, well, it won't work. That's pretty much the whole ordeal about it. It won't work because color effectiveness, or those types of buffs basically, do not really work on neutral armor. So characters like Hina might not be as effective, albeit still possible to use. Also, Malkuth's whole gimmick is you needing to deal damage from all types of colors, despite her being neutral armor. As you can see here, there is a point where you're gonna realize that each color type is available or needed in order to beat Malkuth with relative ease. You're going to be needing the red, blue, yellow, and elastic, or purple. Basically all the color damage types aside from corrosive that we have, which we don't actually have, not really. So yeah, again, looks intimidating, but once you find out how she actually works, or once I show you the demonstration on how to beat her, you'll realize just actually how simple it is to deal with it. First up, let's talk about how you set up a team. You have the relationship rank buff in this kind of raid. So basically, the higher bond you have, the stronger your units are overall. So if this unit is very built and also has a very high relationship level, then she is going to become a absolute monster to be able to deal with Malkuth. And also, as you may have realized, the main thing you're going to need to worry about is DPS units. Your striker line up is all DPS units for each color type. I have my yellow, my red, my blue, and my purple here. And then for specials, you kind of just use any like buffer or like a healer AoE, as that's really all you need. If you don't have Kisaki, you could use someone like Kotama. Kotama is fine as well, because after all, you are using 4 DPS units, so an AoE type a buff will also be sufficient enough. But in this case, I'm going to be using Kisaki. But again, Kotama works very fine and it's very free-to-play friendly. Raise and Magical can be replaced with any like AoE shielder or healer. It does not matter who. Race is just the considered best in slot in this case. And for the DPS characters, this is highly dependent on whether or not you have them at higher bond, but honestly, even at lower bond levels, you can still deal with it pretty easily, especially if you have fest units. You can use non-fest unit DPS from other characters, like from other like color types, but you probably I would recommend having a higher level bond for those characters. And the reason why Aru's here is I have mentioned beforehand that characters like Hina just don't do well against Malkuth due to the fact that, if you haven't realized it, Hina has a lot of red effectiveness which doesn't really do anything. She has it here on her basic skill and she has it here as well on her sub skill. So lots of buffs that would make her very strong against a red unit or red boss, but not here. So Aru is usually the best free-to-play slot for that matter. Now, if you are a newer sensei and are unable to really reach this point of level, then I got good news for you. You can use Barrow's and up to 3 times too. So it's not actually that difficult, even if you're a newer sensei, because you can bar up to 3 times. That's already 3 DPS units already served or assisted, right? Solved is, I guess, the better word there. And if you don't really have like friends or clubs for that, then what are you waiting for? Grab a good club or a friend that are more experienced and have DPS characters that are already well built or in their late stage of building. So don't be afraid to do that. And once you're done with that, now I can represent you how to fight Malkuth. Let's go ahead and get into that. I'm not gonna do mock battle. We're gonna go straight into a real fight to show you all how this is going to work and what are the rewards you get upon beating Grade D. Hello, Mr. Malkuth. Glad to see you. Okay, so as you can see here, we're starting off in just this area, and this is the only area we're gonna be in, so don't worry about anywhere else. Now, at some point, she will place little, like, I don't know, like blades or some kind of shards in surrounding your units, and you can destroy them. And when destroying them, you get a buff to all your allies. In this case, all your DPS units. You can use your DPS units to destroy them, but there's a much more efficient way to deal with that, which I'll show you in a bit. And the solution is to use the cheese, the Kaguramaton skill. You can see these are all the shards that she spawns right there. Very cool. And we just spawn in cheese right there. And it will deal more than enough damage to knock it out or destroy all those. See, look at that. So you don't even need to use your DPS units to destroy that. Very simple. As for HOD and Heather skills, always use them. You always use them. There's no point where you don't want to use them. Like, it's always going to be something you want to use. So don't be afraid to use HOD and Heather skills every single time. There is no, like, planning involved with those two. Let me place that down. Let me grab this Heather skill and continue on. I'm gonna buff Aro for the fun of it. But yeah, no, really, once you're in this like position of your DPS units at this level, it's a breeze one. You just have to cycle between all your units. And it's even easier in phase 2, which you'll see soon enough. Let's just go ahead and get her to phase 2 first, which is around like under 90 million of her HP, I believe. So once we get that, there we go. We will enter phase 2. I'm just gonna skip it. In phase 2, she's gonna do her little like missile combo. She comes up to the air, becomes untargetable, and will spawn tons of minions. However, the minions themselves are very weak, and your DPS units will just auto-attack them to death, so it's not really a big deal. I'm just gonna go ahead and use Yuneru's skill to reset her. And after she's done with that, she will now spawn in. She will now have this part right here, where, as I said before, you're gonna need every single color damage dealt against her, and it has to be an equal amount. If you deal too much of a single color, it doesn't do much. It just deals less damage, and you won't be able to groggy her. So do bear that in mind. Okay, we have the shards spawned again. Just spawn in cheese. Again, only use cheese when the shards are spawning. That way you'll deal enough damage, or you'll be able to get all the buffs without any problem. Here, I'm just going to go that. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and use Mika, Pod skill, and then Emresa. Okay, we're at 50%. Yuneru, so this should be... I'm just gonna do this just in case. And then do this. And that should be sufficient. That will knock her out. There you go. Now in the groggy stage, she's pretty much useless. She'll take more damage. And after she comes back, she'll take even more damage. She'll like take like a lot of damage after she wakes up. So just deal as much damage as you can. In this case, you can just happily use cheese as well here at this point. You just try to destroy her. Either. There you go. And she's gone. Just like that. And we still had a minute and 14 seconds to spare in that fight. Look at that. Check that out. As you can see, plenty of time left. So even in a lesser invested team, you can still beat her with, I'd say, like probably 30 seconds to spare, maybe even 20 seconds to spare. But like, yeah, like this is a higher, like obviously a higher like invested team, but like even on a lower invested team, it should still suffice. And I didn't even use Aris Battle. I used Wakamo, who I'd recommend you use Aris Battle instead, but I used Wakamo for the fun of it and to showcase you that you don't even need the best of the best to beat this. So yep, there we have it. And here's the rewards. So you know how I told you that borrows, while they do cost like credits for like I think 40,000 for each borrow, it doesn't really matter because, hang on a second, if you check over here, the reward gives you a whopping 1.7 million in credit points, so you get refunded by like more than 10 times the amount with plus all the stuff. And remember guys, beating Malkuth D or in grade D will give you more sufficient rewards compared to beating Malkuth grade C twice. Okay, please bear that in mind, that when you are going ahead and fighting Malkuth, it is much better to beat her once on grade D than beating her twice on grade C. That is how good it is to be able to do this every time compared to doing it only on grade C. So yeah, I hope this video gives you the knowledge to be able to deal with Malkuth if you were initially afraid of trying to beat her up on the highest difficulty. As you can see, it's really not that bad. And again, if you're a newer sensei or lower level, then that's okay. Use borrows. If you don't have the borrows, then why not join in a club now, or have some friends that I'm sure are down to help you. Worst case scenario, you can just join a community server from Blue Arc, from unofficial Blue Arc archive servers, and it will do the same thing, get you help and be able to let you beat Malkuth very nicely. Alright, well, that is about it for today. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and hopefully you guys will be able to be now more confident to beat Malkuth. Oh, and one last thing. Malkuth does have a second phase on her health when she reaches 50% or below, like the total HP here, but it's not really much different from what I can hear. From what I can hear, the only difference is it spawns a bit more minions, but and she's a little bit stronger. But otherwise, the mechanics the same. You can still do the same method that I've told you to beat her up. So yeah, you can still do that same thing even if she gets to phase 2 of her HP here. Doesn't really matter. So yep, that's it. See y'all.